I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? It's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And
Tucker Carlson has announced something pretty impressive, but I guess not surprising, that being that he has left the Republican Party. The funny thing about this is if you go online, you go on those betting markets, Tucker Carlson is still like one of the top favorites of the betting markets to actually become the GOP presidential nominee in the 2020 presidential elections. But, I totally understand this. It's like this is, you can no longer say that any of these political parties represent what they once did. And it's not just that they don't represent what they once did. It's like we are in a completely different planet now from what we saw, say, JFK and prior. The whole country has changed. Everything has changed. And to be frank with you all, the electorate has changed too. I saw a new report out today. I believe it was a Quinnipiac poll. There are obviously the majority of Democrats, I believe now, and independents say that they don't support Israel. But there's a major shift underway in the Republican Party where young people it's mostly being led by young people saying, we no longer support Israel. We need to break away from Israel. This is a beautiful thing. Now, I agree with Tucker. I say the Republican Party does not represent us. The Democrat, none of these parties represent us. Is there any hope in changing them from within? I don't know. Hassan Piker definitely seems to think so. I think otherwise. But let's take a listen to what Tucker has to say.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? It's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, right, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation, and they're not doing that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
It's true. I think Tucker is one of those people that has probably held faith, not necessarily in the system, but in that some things can be salvaged. Maybe there are rational kernels within these frameworks more than most people. Most Americans are completely detached. Most Americans, 99.9999% of Americans and people on this earth cannot pick up the phone and have a conversation with President Trump. Tucker Carlson can, and that puts him in a very, unique position, very elevated position. But this move now puts Tucker Carlson in a position that I know I myself am in and have been for a very long time, and I'm sure many of you are in as well. And that position is, and it's not to, make light of this phrase, but it's like we are in an information war. We have all collectively correctly identified who the beast is, what the great evil is, what the great Satan is. And it's not the American people. It's not, divisiveness on the left and right. No, it is the uniparty, the captured uniparty, captured by finance, captured by Zionist interests, captured by corporate America and the warmongering interests. It is a completely captured uniparty. And as Americans, we have to figuratively drive the stake directly into the heart of that uniparty, and we have to do away with it once and for all. Now, that is not in any way, shape, or form a call for any sort of, bad things to happen, any sort of illegal things. I would never want that. I'm saying figuratively, we have to move on to a new paradigm. We do have to begin looking at other parties. It's amazing when you travel to these other countries. I don't know if you guys like to travel. Many of you I know live in other countries, but there is so much potential for, minor parties to have huge influence in countries where you don't have a uniparty dominating each and every micro decision that is made on a daily basis. Take Turkey, for example. Turkey is currently going through a very big shakeup, politically speaking, with the major parties in the country. And I think in the next 1 to 2 years, we will be seeing a very different looking government in Turkey as a result of new coalitions being formed, certain splits taking place within the existing coalitions and opposition coalitions. And I think Turkey is on the path to a very bright future, politically, geopolitically speaking, that is. There is just 0% chance of that ever happening in the United States because of the fact that we don't have the opportunity for coalition building. There is no chance that, a small scale party can form a government coalition with another party. This is just out of the picture. There's no chance that small party can ever influence policy or can have its people in the correct positions to pursue the proper avenues, make the right calls on a given. It's like it's never going to happen. The best case scenario is the president appoints someone who is nominally less Zionist than the president himself to a certain position, and you cross your fingers that maybe, just maybe, that person will have just a tad bit of influence to change the American political spectrum in some way. But as we've seen, that doesn't work out, right? As we've seen, Tulsi Gabbard, who, opposed war to Iran her entire career, and she was the one who was bringing together all of the intelligence to give to the president on his desk each and every day, had absolutely zero, nilch impact on the president launching a war on Iran. So, I say this not to, say, well, let's go pursue. I mean, it's like, really, what is there that we can do other than to do what Tucker is doing here? What we have been preaching on this show for an extended period of time, to say we are not going to participate in this system any longer. These people like Nick Fuentes, they say, a Republican gets elected. They say, I don't like what the Republican's doing, so I'm going to vote Democrat next election. Oh, big brain move. That's like 6G thinking from Nick Fuentes. Yeah. And then when the Democrat gets elected, he says, oh my God, this is so scary. The Democrats, they're actually evil. This is actually evil. We need to vote for Trump because this is actually evil, what's going on. These people are retarded. They have no strategic thinking. They have no capability to build actual organizational infrastructure. They have no capability to actually challenge the current system, because saying we're going to flip-flop back and forth every 4 years to make the other side angry. There is no other side. What are you doing? There is no other side. What? Hassan Piker, what are we doing? There is no other side. I have lost all faith, little faith that I ever did have in this system. There is no flip-flopping to save the system. Okay? Now, let's take a look
Tucker,
at this.
Where this leaves the future of the MAGA movement. I mean,
The future of the MAGA. Well, that's over. There's no future of the MAGA movement. Obviously, we're done.
This war caused the end.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, what is the MAGA movement? Trump has defined it as whatever he wants. Well, that's not a movement. That's a tick. That's a preference. It's like, what do I feel like having for breakfast this morning? Well, today it's, the pancake movement. It'll be Eggs Benedict movement tomorrow. Like, it's not a movement. It's just like it's a desire.
But you believed in it.
Well, I never understood what it was. No, I never believed in MAGA. I believe in making America great again. I certainly believe in its literal definition, but its operational definition was never clear. What I believe in is putting your country first. If you're leading your country, of course, its concerns are at the top of your list of concerns, in the same way that your children's concerns are more important, your children's needs are more important.
Look, the only movement I believe in is the American Communist Party. The only movement I believe in. And, you know, I think actually, despite some of the things Tucker says, I know that Tucker would find common ground on probably a vast majority of the issues that the American Communist Party stands for. That's the only movement I believe in. That's the only movement that actually has any real shot of saving America. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.